good morning, folks. Well, it's Wednesday morning, and I'm here in West Cork and on my way to Baltimore to catch a ferry to Cape Clear Island. Yes, another adventure, another hiking adventure, not a great big epic journey, but another hiking adventure across another island, which I've earmarked quite a few months ago on a bucket list. So today, hopefully, I can cross that off the bucket list after completing that odyssey. Once again, I seem to have hit the jackpot regarding weather. Not a cloud in the sky. Right behind me here, I have some spectators, as you can see, and they're wondering, what is this idiot doing at 6:30 a.m., having left Fermoy at around 5 a.m. this morning. And I'm here now on the roadway as I head into Skibbereen and on down to Baltimore for a ferry sailing to Cape Clear. The weather again this morning is absolutely stunning. So somebody up there, or somebody somewhere, is certainly looking after me as I walk my way through the Emerald Isle. Well, I'm here in Baltimore, in West Cork, and I've parked up, and I'm a bit early for the ferry, so I'm just having a walk around. Now, as I told you, I'm here on the pier in Baltimore, and I have around 55 minutes to wait for the ferry to come in from Cape Clear to take me across to that island where I'm going to embark on a hike today. The Baltimore Beacon is a white painted stone beacon positioned high above the channel between the mainland and Sherkin Island, near the entrance to the harbour of Baltimore in County Cork. A beacon was built at the order of the British government following the 1798 rebellion. It is part of a series of lighthouses and beacons dotted around the Irish coast, forming a warning system. The beacon is locally known as Lot's wife, after the biblical woman turned into a pillar of salt. Well, whilst I'm waiting for the ferry to come across from Cape Clear Island, I'm up here on the hill at the beacon, overlooking the mouth of Baltimore Harbour here in West Cork. Again, I keep harking on about it. Take a look at this weather. Am I blessed, or am I what? So I invite you all to tag along with me today to Cape Clear. Those of you up for it, I'll do all the heavy lifting, you do all the enjoyment. folks, at last, I've set foot on Cape Clear Island. When I arrived this morning, the ferry hadn't come across from this island to the mainland, to Baltimore. So there was an hour of a delay. Then, lo and behold, over 200 people turned up. So they all couldn't fit on the small ferry. So they had to source a bigger ferry from the other side of the harbour, which eventually brought us here. A full boat. So I'm overlooking the harbour here now at Cape Clear. And again, I'm walking in. My first port to call is the graveyard and the ruins of an old church. The weather is divine again this morning. Still early, but 35 minutes later arrival than I anticipated. But however, we're here. Arriving on the ferry from Baltimore into the North Harbour, the first archaeological and ecclesiastical site the visitor sees are the ruins of a 12th century church close to the main pier. Well, what we have here is a graveyard within the walls of a ruined church. All the headstones are in Gaeilge, the Irish language, because this is the official Gaeltacht, which means an Irish-speaking community. Saint Kieran, the island's patron saint, is allegedly one of Ireland's 4 early pre-patrician saints. He is said to have been born on the shoreline beside the harbour, Trá Kieran, in front of the well, and the islanders gathered there to mark his feast on March the 5th each year. Saint Kieran's life has inspired some colourful stories. Before he was conceived, his mother, Saint Leodán, dreamt a star had fallen into her mouth. She related this dream to the tribal elders, who told her she would give birth to a son whose fame and virtues would spread throughout the world. I'm setting off on my way, and I'll traverse the island as much as I can. I have a good few hours here before my return trip back to Baltimore on the mainland. Over there on the hill, to my right, there are about 7, 8 or 9 yurts, these Mongolian chalets. A lot of kids here having activities with canoes here on the bay. But I'm going to make my way up into the hills now. This is Scoil Náisiúnta, the public school here on Cape Clear Island. There's a sign on the wall that says Uachtarán na hÉireann, which is the President of Ireland, and the name Mary McAleese, the 25th of the 4th, 1998. Look at this for a hill, folks. Now I'm at temperature 19. This island is divided into east and west by an isthmus called the Waste, with the North Harbour to the landward side and the South Harbour on the seaward side. Cape Clear is a wild and beautiful island where Irish is still and spoken first language. Remote it may be, 45 minutes from Baltimore by ferry, but you may leave Cape Clear, but Cape Clear will never leave you. My objective was to have myself separated from the 200 people that got off the ferry and walk this island alone. My trademark, walk alone. And I think since I began this huge climb, as you can see behind me there, I've left most of them on flat ground. And if the flies would leave me alone, I'd be doing better. Well, hello again, folks. Perhaps you may be able to see the invasion of flies that I've come under. I'm being attacked from the north, the south, the east and the west. But we'll keep on going regardless. So I have certainly lost the 200 people from the ferry. I'm now right in towards the centre of the island. And because I'm climbing towards the centre of the island, it's all uphill. Perhaps the video won't or can't or refuses to do justice, as I'm actually besieged here. Oh my goodness, I have never, even in Australia, I have never seen so many flies. To get in front of the lens, millions of the buggers. As I get near the tip of the hill, if you look over the fields that have been harvested there, you can see Fastnet Rock a couple of miles out off the coast. You can take a boat you can take the ferry from Baltimore and from here at Cape Clear and sail around that Fastnet Rock at sunset. Now, folks, you can call these roads for sure roads less travelled. This island comprises of many different landscapes. You can see to my right, I suppose to your left, it is forestry. You're at the very top of the mountain now, after that horrendous fly-infected assault on this hill. There's a breeze now coming in from the bay and has blown away the creatures. Too many to swat individually, but if I could, I would. And I wouldn't care about biodiversity, because my God, they were horrendous. I'm now overlooking the bay and I'll show you the view from here. Now that structure that I just showed you there, it's obviously a holy well. There's a bottle and a little cup. The flies have returned. There's not a car or a human being to be seen today, but it's the way I like it. God, I chose well without boasting. I chose well once again for this walking odyssey. It's been raining for 2 weeks and I've been watching and waiting because the rain and the wind wouldn't deter me, but when you go to an offshore island, and this island has the most southerly point of land in Ireland, and it is here on Cape Clear Island.
The rivers and glen, I am the still everywhere. I am.
On a lighter note there, I just passed a house, and as I came over the hill a bit back from it, I could smell what I detected was pizza. And lo and behold, when I came over the hill and came down to this little cottage, there was this group of people, I say tourists, and they're actually leasing a house, I'd say, here for a few days, and they were cooking pizza. This area, according to the map of Cape Clear Island, is called the Cross. Well, it is a cross of sort. It is a cross of four roads of some sort, I guess. The view is exceptional here. So I'm going to take a left turn here, and I'm going to take you up to the church. Now it's about 2/3 of a mile up there, but hopefully it'll be open. I think, because I'm not a botanist, I think the field of purple plant that I showed you there on the left was lavender. Millions of bumblebees having a field day in there, but I think it might be lavender. But I'll also check that out for you. Now down here at this part of the island, it resembles an offshore island. It's the stone walls. Not as spectacular by any stretch of the imagination. Blood up flies off the lens. Not unlike the Blaskets or the Aran Islands. And if you want to heed a little bit of advice that I might give you right now, go and visit the Blasket Islands for a day. Go and visit the Great Blasket Island anyway. And then, when you have some more time off, go and visit Inishmaan. Now, 3 islands of the Aran Island chain, but Inishmaan is the one that we go to a lot. It's spectacular, quiet, undeveloped, just the ultimate peace and quiet. Wouldn't this be a fab place to bring up a young family? I mean, it has the school, it has the ferry, there's a bit of a road structure here, there is Wi-Fi here, plenty of Wi-Fi here actually, way more Wi-Fi than what I saw in Durst, what I experienced in Dursey, but this island has almost everything. It has a shop, in fact a restaurant, I think 2 pubs, and a population of 147 permanent residents. Now I hope to goodness that when I arrive up here at the church, that it's open after taking 3/4 of a mile of a walk to bring you up here. I'm here in St. Kieran's Church on the island of Cape Clear in West Cork, the most southerly part of Ireland. And I've said a few prayers for all of those who might believe, and even more so those of you that might need a few prayers at this time for whatever reason. And God knows we all need a few prayers at times to help us through the trials and tribulations that we encounter in our daily lives. So the few prayers that I've said for you, I hope they make a difference and that you benefit from them. That's all I'm going to say here now in the church. So I continue my trek. Okay? So what you have here, the building is St. Kieran's Church. It was founded in 1838, which is many moons ago from yesterday, let me tell you. But a really nice, quiet, serene place to spend 10 minutes, which I've done. So now I continue. Once more, This will be the final time I'll say or mention this to you in any video. I'm constantly asked. I don't know why I'm being asked constantly. Perhaps it's since I took on the St. Declan's Pilgrim Way walk. But I'm asked, why do I do it? How come you can do it? Why do you want to do it? And do you ever get bored of doing it? There's a series of questions to ask a poor man like me. And all I'm trying to do is walk the Emerald Isle. Right. The first part of the 4-part question I'll now answer. I've been walking all of my life. Here in Australia and God knows where else. I just did not begin walking the roads, the hills, the woods, the fields, the highways and the byways of whatever country. I'm doing it since social media came about. It's now fashionable for a lot of people to go walking and have themselves up on the internet. I do that. It's entertainment for me. But I just didn't do that since Facebook and Twitter and YouTube, all of which I belong to, came to our attention. I've been doing it all my life. I've been making videos, producing videos since 1979 on prehistoric equipment back then. So all my activities have been documented right throughout my life. Do I get tired? I never get tired. Since I began this morning, I didn't sit down from the time I got off the ferry until I got to St. Kieran's church there behind me. I don't tire. Why do I do it? Because I love doing it. I'll continue to do it, and I'll give you a little bit of advice. Perhaps you should try it. Stamina, determination, commitment, willpower, all of the accolades that I can conjure up here as I head into another hill, God help me, come to mind. I love it. I love this walking, and I love the long distance walking. I am now a long distance walker and have been for a long time. And of course I walk alone. I hear and I see everything when I walk alone. So I hope that bit of banter have answered all those questions that were posed to me, rather. Now, I'm back at the cross, as it's called, here on Cape Clear. The church is back there about just over half a mile behind me, as you can now see. So I'm going to go on even further into the island as I'm up on the highest altitude parts of this beautiful island right now. I'm going to keep on going and walk most, if not all, of the roadways and tracks that are here. I love this island. I probably hear you say, here he is again, going on about the island and the lure to the islands. Well, it's true. It's very true. I love the islands. I would come out to these islands every week, every day if I could, because I love the peace and the quiet. It is that peace and quiet that brings me to places like these, places where there is no racket, no noise, just a place that you can walk and listen to nature, admire the scenery. These roads are less travelled, and these are the kind of roads that I like. I've met one vehicle, a 4x4 there 15 minutes ago, but I reckon the only vehicles I would traverse around here would be the people that are living on the island. Now there is a ferry, a little ferry that will bring one vehicle, I think, at the time. So there are a few cars and tractors and things and vans abandoned around the place, like there were on Dursey Island. I've told you a few times that my walking pace is around 6.2 to 6.4 or 5. It's around 6.4 actually. Not that I'm monitoring it, but I know myself from the app on my phone. I don't ever overdo the walking pace because I'm looking at things all the time. I'm stopping and taking photographs and videos and talking to you. So I think that's about my pace. It's amazing how much distance you can put up in a day when you just keep on walking. And as I say, I don't sit down. I'll sit down now and I'll have my lunch very shortly. And I'll enjoy that. I'm walking down a very, very steep hill. So there's a seat here next to an old pump, and I might have my piece of lunch here. In fact, I think I will. Take a look. I'll partake in my lunch here because the view is splendid, as they say in Pommyland. The view is splendid. But there's a relic from a bygone era next to the seat. So what better place? I like to sit and command the view and have my lunch at the same time. So I think this one beckons and calls me and decides. So I'll have it here. Okay? Now I'm partaking in my own lunch. Everybody else seems to be having their lunch inside. So I'm out here in the open air partaking in my lunch. So the tea will be first, and my culinary skills now would be almost zero. The sugar, a little bit of sugar, look, 22 grains in there, and the milk. I wrapped it up in cooking foil. Sorry now if I'm embarrassing myself, but sure, I don't care. So I better not pollute the countryside in the process. And then a drop of milk. So, and the sandwiches. So now, excuse me whilst I enjoy same. But admire the vista behind me. Well folks, I've just finished lunch, having found a lofty perch to do so. I've just met one elderly inhabitant, and he questioned me beyond belief, but I can understand his curiosity. Where'd you come from? Where are all those badges on your hat? So I spent 5 minutes, if not more, just showing him the different places. And I said, be assured, my dear boy, every pin and badge on this hat on my poor head actually came from the area that it says. And that's a fact. It's a lifetime of travel on my head. Well, hello again, folks. Well, I've arrived here on the other side of the island at Douglas Pier. There's not a sign of a human being or some boats heading back to Baltimore out on the bay, out on the harbour. Now, of course, that I got myself down here nice and easy, this was all a hill down, I now must make my way from Douglas Pier back up to the top of the island again. So I'm a glutton for this punishment. But like I said, I love it. So hopefully the flies will have gone on holidays or been eradicated by the time I get back up to where I became under siege 2 hours ago. Okay, folks, it's pretty warm now, but whatever about being warm, it's humid. There's a hill in front of me here now. Look, I'm not kidding you, folks. Take a look at that. It's onwards and upwards on my poor, overstretched body. But for me to get to the other side of it, I have to climb up there. I have more than 2/3 of Cape Clear to myself. A, it's too hilly for the hordes to come out here, and B, it's probably too warm. In fact, it's gone beyond warm, it's hot and exceptionally humid. Another huge hill. A huge hill ahead of me here. I'm glad I had my lunch before I tackled all these bloody hills. Once more, it's terribly humid and about 21 degrees. Sky is rather clouded up, but only for the breeze. I said the flies would have had me for breakfast, dinner, lunch, brunch, and any other thing that you can think of in between. So the flies have blown away. Now, if you look at the fabric of these stone buildings from a bygone era, you can see, I think this is called red stone, which is hewn out of the mountainsides in the local area, certainly on the island. But you can see it's just flat stone with some wet earth, no plaster inside, probably little to no foundations. So living in those things in a bygone era, and the British persecuting the people living in them They used to bring their animals in to have heat in the house during the cover of darkness during the night, and the water would obviously seep through those flat stones and into the very fabric of the building. The floors would consist of earth, so everything from below would come up. So you can see the reason why they would have cows and pigs and sheep and dogs, etc., goats, in the house at night time to maintain a sense of warmth. So yes, Ireland from a past time, primitive times, oppressive times. So now, folks, as I take on another hill, yet another hill, I'll be fighting fit at the end of today. But saying all that, I'll be able to tick off Clare Island off my bucket list for this year. 6 months into a new year, and I have clocked up some kilometers on foot. On the mainland and on islands. 6 more months to go, and much more walking to do. My God, the hills today are ankle biters. You can feel the Achilles tendons under extreme pressure. The backpack is heavy, but the hills are brutal. So if you come out here and you go walking, be prepared. But don't let the hills deter you. This place is to be explored, and explore it I will. There's been a minibus travelling around the byroads there for the past 20 minutes. At times there's some tourists on board, and then you meet him a few minutes later and he's empty. But anyway, he's coming back there now, and he pulled up. And he asked me, did I want to drive back to the ferry? And I said, politely and graciously said, no thank you, I'm a walker. I want to complete today's expedition on foot, but thank you so much. So he was adamant that I think he was convinced that I was going to get on board, but it ain't going to happen, my dear boy. Detoured off the loop walk here on Cape Clear Island in West Cork, and I've come over here to see this shell of a once fine homestead. The fabric of the building is still intact, though it's roofless. Wouldn't it make a fine family home? Now, folks, in the past 15 minutes or so, I've been going downhill towards the village. All downhill. Sun continues to impress me and beat down upon me, and I'm still fighting fit and clocking up the kilometers. Passing some more derelict cottages, homesteads here now on my right. Now, we were talking about hills coming up, but take a look at this hill coming down. And there's two elderly walkers here in front of me, and they're proceeding with caution. So we're coming back down to where the ferry port is, or the pier rather. As you can see, now folks, whew, my God, I'm at the other side of the island completely, totally. Take a look at that sky above my Kieran. It is 23 degrees according to the app, and that was 3 minutes ago. So as I'm on the other side of the island now, I have less people again. Now in front of me is Loch Errol. Loch Errol, and it's a significant volume of water. Now, I'm contemplating making my way up by the side of the lake to the cliff edge at the far end, so that I can get a proper view of Fastnet Lighthouse. I think it's the tallest in Ireland and England, or the British Isles, whatever way you want to call it. Now you can see that purple bloom that you see there on the side of the mountain is heather. You've heard of the song All Around the Blooming Heather. So that's what they're talking about, heather. Now the rabbits, this is their playground. There's burrows every place. Now, putting your foot into one of those when you're not watching where you're going, you'll do yourself some incredible injury. Folks, I'm here in a t-shirt on the edge of a very, very large, steep, high cliff with the ocean to my back, and the breeze is whipping up gusts around me. No problem with flies here, I can assure you. I don't know if you can hear, but the seagulls, very large gulls, are kicking up the mother and father of a racket over my head. So I'm not going to put the bird in the air here. I think they perceive me to be a threat to whatever nesting is going on around the place here. So we won't deny them any more than they're already annoyed. Now folks, I think I'm in a part of the island where very few people might want to trek. It's very exposed here, and looking out there ahead of me, don't know how many miles it is out, but the Fastnet Lighthouse sits proud and firm in the ocean. This would be a magnificent place to pitch a tent. It really would. It's quite sheltered here when you get away from the cliff edge. I mean, there might be livestock hanging around here, but if you pitched your tent in a safe place, it would be sensational to awake in the morning and see that vista that circumnavigates you when you pop your head from inside a canvas. Oh, it would be something else. Right behind me, over my right shoulder, is the most southerly tip in Ireland. Yes, the most southerly tip in Ireland. So I've made it this far. I've walked right around the island from north to south and a bit of east and west. The seagulls are still buzzing me from above, casting great big spitfire shadows on the terrain as they pass between me and the sun. So it's chilly here now at the edge of these cliffs. These cliffs are ominous looking. But that's my journey around Cape Clear today so far. Once again, I would like to thank you all for your likes, comments, sharing and loyalty. All that means a great deal to me. It's the inspiration and motivation that one needs to keep on doing what I do. Of course, I like what I'm doing, but having a fan club behind you makes all the difference. So, for tagging along today here on Cape Clear on yet another fabulous day weather-wise, I truly thank you. You need to look after each other and take care, and God bless you all. This island has many faces, various landscapes, cliffs, sandy, boggy terrain, pasture land, quiet country roads, and a small population. Just be aware that if you're walking, which you probably will be, or cycling even better, but if you're walking, be prepared for the hills. There's no point in saying that they're easy and you can overcome. Sure, they're not easy, but you will overcome. So just be prepared for a bit of hard slog. So folks, I think I have served my apprenticeship today on Cape Clear Island. One more to cross off the bucket list. And now there's another one looming. Yep, another one looming. And I'll tell you all about that in due course. So, from a gorgeous sunny day on Cape Clear in West Cork, the most southerly part of Ireland, I bid you farewell. Take care, God bless, and thank you, one and all, for tagging along with me. You've accepted the invitation, and for that I'm grateful. Okay, bye-bye. Well folks, that concludes my walking odyssey on Cape Clear. I'm here now at the pier and I'm about to get on the ferry which will take me back to Baltimore on the mainland. And then I have a 2-hour drive to my homestead in North County Cork. So it's been a gorgeous day. Oh, it's just really warm now. People swimming there and lying on the beach and sitting out having drinks.